G'day trendsetters, coming to you poolside with dogs with a review of what could be arguably one of the craziest wheel sets designed specifically for the riggers of gravel cycling, and I have reviewed some pretty crazy wheel sets over the span of time. This is none other than the Zipp 303 XPLR SW. In the gravel cycling landscape, we have seen rims get wider and wider. Just a couple of years ago, 23 millimeters internal was considered wide. Now we've got 25 millimeters internal. Then you have Zipp. And they said, ha 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 ha, not bloody likely, mate. These rims are 32 millimeters wide internal. Absolutely bonkers. Now Zipp, they are the boffins of speed when it comes to wheels. They reside in Indianapolis, Indiana, home to the Indy 500. Speed is natural for Zipp, but I will tell you, I was scratching my head when I attended the media presentation of this particular wheel set, thinking, Zipp, you might have gone a bit crazy now with these ultra-wide rims that are borderline mountain bike wheel width. However, with Zipp being Zipp, they utilised the wind tunnel and they figured out that a lot of these tyres, and if you think about it, this next statement is true, a lot of rims sit like this and then you have like a light bulb atop the rim. I've always questioned these wheel companies saying their wheels on gravel are ultra aerodynamic, blah, blah, blah. I've always thought those statements were complete bullshit. Now, if you think your wheel set's fast, that's great. Placebo counts for a lot, but think about it. You've got this massive tyre acting like a sail atop the rim. Thus, Zipp have made the rim ultra wide, so the profile of the tyre matches with the rim. And they have some specific tyres that they partner with Goodyear to match this pair of wheels. There are two models of tyre, they're both by Goodyear. Here's one of the tyres I'm referring to, the Goodyear Inter. Sounds like an F1 tyre, but you cannot deny Zipp has really done their homework. Along a similar vein, tyre pressure, which is arguably one of the most forgotten about aspects of gravel cycling. I meet a lot of gravel cyclist folks in my travels, and a lot of those riders have come across from the road and they're running roadie tyre pressures on their tubeless gravel tyres, which is pretty crazy because you're just making the ride so harsh, so pounding, and that's the last thing you want on a bumpy gravel road. Tyler has a lot of pressure, no pressure.
A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah, but not in my gravel tires.
Low pressure. Dude, that is the one fault of gravel cyclists. Too much pressure.
You got to keep the pressure low.
100%. Roadie pressures are not good. Moving on. I often inflate my 700C by 45 millimeter gravel tires, I should say deflate, down to say 18 PSI on the front wheel and about 21, 22 PSI on the rear wheel. Crazy stuff. So enough claptrap. I think it's time to get a close look at these Zipp 303 XPLR SW wheels. Here we have it, the Zipp 303 XPLR SW front wheel. There are 24 bladed spokes on the front wheel. I'm pretty certain they're Sapim CX rays. And you can see there is a 2-cross spoke pattern happening. It's a bit difficult to see in this current light. There is dimpling in this rim surface, like you'd expect on a golf ball. This is not the first time Zipp has utilised dimpling on their rims, let alone on a gravel-specific wheel set. At the centre of the wheel, we've got Zipp's ZR1 or ZR1 hub. Let's flip it over here. Through axle is 12 millimeters, and there you have the beautiful center lock standard for mounting rotors. Of course, the other feature, external nipples. Let's hope you never have to true these wheels. Now, this part of the rim may not please everybody. It is hookless. Some people cannot stand the idea of that. I've had very good luck with this sort of technology for low pressure applications, which is pretty much what gravel cycling is all about. And now we have the rear wheel, the same rim and the same spoke count and the same spoking pattern. This is, putting it mildly, an absolutely wild wheel set. There are two cassette body standards available, obviously SRAM XDR, and of course Shimano compatible HG. Interesting fact, the new Red Explorer Access 13-speed drivetrain, that cassette will fit onto this body, so that's another really nice feature. Thank you SRAM for not making us suffer through another cassette body standard. Let's flip it over here. The disc side of the wheel, again center lock, just like the front wheel. Overall, it's a pretty sweet looking wheel set. And the hub at the center, the Zipp ZR1 or ZR1 if you prefer. One more fact to point out here, these rims arrived pre-taped, love that, and the valve installed saves a bit of hassle. Now I think it's time to throw these wheels onto the gram scale. Front wheel, and this weight includes the valve, the rim tape, etc., and a couple of, well, labels. 665 grams. Rear wheel, again, tape, valve, and a couple of labels. 789 grams. All right, my favorite part, balancing both wheels. How does he do that? It's magic. 1,454 grams. That is actually a pretty reasonable weight considering the width and depth of this crazy wheel set. Now would be a good time for me to measure these rims. Outside rim measurements, it's about 40.4 millimeters. Rim depth is, hopefully you can see it there, 54.5 millimeters. Now there is a tiny little step on my measuring caliper here, but this rim is ultra wide and a little bit difficult to measure, but we'll just say that's close enough. And the metric you're all waiting for, the inside measurement, 32 millimeters exactly. One of the moments you've all been waiting for, the free hub sound. Definitely not the loudest I've ever heard, but you're not going to be able to sneak up anywhere anytime soon. Next, let's mount some tubeless gravel tyres by Goodyear onto these wheels. All right, trendsetters, inflation time for the Zipp 303 XPLR SW and the complementing Goodyear Explorer Inter tyre. Now, I'm confident I will not have to remove the valve core because this tyre was quite a tight fit to this rim. This is a dry mount, there's no sealant, but my sealant of choice is Orange Seal Endurance Formula, the best there is. All right, I do have some air in this secondary cylinder of my trusty Bontrager TLR flash charger pump. Let's hit it, see how it goes. Oh yeah, it's gonna inflate, no worries. I just need to keep pumping away here so it will pop into the bead. Putting a lot of air in this tyre. I haven't heard a pop. Stop right there. Visually, this sucker is in the bead. So I think we'll drop the pressure right now. All we have to do now is add sealant and obviously a rotor, and we're good to go. So we've covered the tech specs, the tyre measuring, the weighing, the free hub sounding, all of that goodness. Now it's time to find out how the Zipp 303 XPLR SW wheel set rides. Tipping their scales at mid 1400 grams and featuring carbon rims that are insanely deep, wide and dimpled, it's abundantly apparent these wheels are light enough to be rocket fast over most terrain, flat or otherwise. As a bonus, they dress up any bike you install them onto. Not everyone's going to buy into the wider is better internal rim design, but I discovered wider is better way back in 2013 after building a drop bar mountain bike with nowadays narrow 1.8-inch tyres before any of these gravel privateer people existed to cope with the demands of the dodgy descents in the North Carolina and West Virginia Appalachians. Think events like Pisgah Monster Cross, Hilly Billy Roubaix, etc. A nice bonus, I felt a whole lot safer having a wider, lower pressure tyre casing beneath me. Thus, I quickly learned that wider, lower pressure tyre casings also rolled faster over the rough stuff, and the same is happening with the Zipp 303 Explore SW wheels and their matching Goodyear Explore into tyres. On smooth gravel and hard-packed road surfaces, these wheels effortlessly tick along, holding speed likely aided by the deep rim profile. However, whilst you may feel some crosswind side effects from time to time due to this rim being so deep, it's nowhere to the magnitude as crosswind buffeting I've experienced riding other deep rim design wheels, even though shod with roadie width tyres. This isn't a tyre review, but the Goodyear Explore Inters are fast on smooth surfaces, including pavement, and elsewhere very grippy in the saddle, out the saddle, and while cornering. I tinkered with lower tyre pressure on this wheel and tyre combination, but generally settled around low 20s PSI. There are lighter wheel options available, but none are anywhere near this rim depth or width, and despite this, the mid 1400 gram weight doesn't make these wheels feel sluggish ascending in or out of the saddle. They are quite responsive to speed changes as well, again in or out of the saddle, and I cannot see anybody flexing these wheels laterally about the place, at least for a rider of my ordinary caliber. Zipp doesn't recommend these wheels for MTB single track type riding, but I did try that during a stretch of the Arizona Trail in the Sonoran Desert. I winced a little hearing rock strikes against the rim sidewalls. It's a good thing they are close to 4mm stick, and whilst I don't recommend it, the wheelset came out of that experience pretty unscathed, barring a couple of light surface scratches. I've already mentioned in their intended theatre of operation, aka traditional gravel cycling on not crazy roads, these wheels feel amazingly fast, even if it's placebo happening, and that almost seamless transition from rim to tyre certainly isn't hurting. These wheels are light enough to be a super versatile all-rounder for courses where endless hills or long climbs abound, alternatively on fast and flat terrain. These wheels work marvelously with SRAM 1x and 2x drivetrains, and you'll have no problems for Shimano or Campagnolo. These wheels are also available to you. Other things to like about this wheel set: the aero J-bend spokes and exposed nipples are easy to deal with should you break one, and the rear ZR1 hub has 66 points of engagement. That's almost too much in my opinion. Either way, the hubs have been spot on reliable during my review. I expect you'll have no snake bite punctures or damage those thick 3.9mm sidewalls, because they're blunted at the bead interface, which will help prevent cutting into the tyre should you bottom out. Adding to this goodness, you gain Zipp's excellent lifetime warranty. Negatives, well, that would firstly be the limited selection of tyres for this wheel set. Be certain to check out Zipp's tyre compatibility chart for this wheel set, which includes the Goodyear tyres I've mentioned and Schwalbe's G1 tyres measuring at least 700C by 14mm. I sincerely hope there are more compatible tyres coming, as I would love to slap on some Paneras Gravel King tyres onto these wheels. I freely admit I'm not a fan of Schwalbe's G1 series of tyres. Pricing won't please everybody. That's going to depend where you buy them from, but expect to pay somewhere around US $2,260 to begin with. Clearly, the Zipp 303 Explore SW wheels aren't going to be for everybody, but I'm absolutely loving them on any road surface. I'm wondering how long it's going to be before other manufacturers take notice. Zipp certainly have laid down the gauntlet with this pioneering wheel and ultra-wide rim design, and I don't think it's going to be a flash in the pan or a one-off. I really think Zipp has created a new wheel standard that makes a lot of sense. Learn more at the Zipp website. So there you have it, trendsetters, my review of the ultra crazy, ultra wide, all carbon Zipp 303 XPLR SW wheel set, designed for traveling very, very fast at low pressure along the gravelly roads less traveled. Thus, I sincerely hope that my review went some way into helping you making an informed purchase decision, because there is an awful lot of wheel sets on the market today for your gravel bike. As always, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the Gravel Cyclist YouTube channel for real world, no bullshit gravel bike wheel reviews such as this one. No bullshit gravel bike reviews, other product reviews, ride experience videos, and of course, how can we forget, general madness. All right then, as all of it is released to the channel, I'll see you and the dogs. Hey, what are you doing down there? In the next video.